Hello and welcome to this week's casual review. I am Fred. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. This week, we're obviously talking about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now, my thoughts and opinions on this game are being recorded in mid-March 2024. By the time you're seeing this on YouTube, it's going to be like late May, early June of 2024. Why the big time frame difference? It's just how it comes down to when I finish games, when I record the videos, and I like pre-recording content weeks, if not months in advance, in case something happens to me. You never know. Anyway, let's dive into Suicide Squad here. First and foremost, let's talk about the gameplay. It is an open world looter shooter, a third person looter shooter, much akin to, say, the Tom Clancy's The Division mixed with Agents of Mayhem. Yes, I'm saying this game combines elements from two very different games released almost a decade apart when you really think about it. More or less with Agents of Mayhem and Tom Clancy, they were kind of closer in time frame, but that's neither here nor there or wherever the hell I was going with this. Oh yeah, yes, the gameplay is like in terms of that. Much like Agents of Mayhem, Suicide Squad gives you a cast of characters that you can flip between at any given times. They all have different strengths and weaknesses. For example, Deadshot has great aerial maneuverability. He can hover in midair. He's also the best overall sniper. As well. So it's like if you want to fight enemies at range, Deadshot is going to be more than likely your character of choice. Well, at the same time, Captain Boomerang can also attack at range, but he can use sniper rifles as well. But he also has actually be able to use the shotguns and Uzi. And his melee attack with throwing the boomerang, you can basically pop that off a lot quicker than anybody else's melee attack and be able to do it at range. Deadshot, you almost have to get in fairly close to use his wrist cannons. And King Shark and Harley Quinn, you definitely got in close because they have more. Harley Quinn has her baseball bats, mallets, and such, and King Shark has his big hooks and things of that sort. So you got to get in close to actually use them effectively. So again, and that's just talking about like those mechanics. Each character has very different movement options to get around and so forth. Harley Quinn relies on a bat drone. You can swing from it once, and then once to let the swing go, you can do a double jump and swing from it again. She also has a standard grappling hook to shoot up to the top of the buildings and launch from it. Once they reach the top, and then you can traverse that way. King Shark has great sustainable speed on the ground, and also has a nice jump and a triple. You can do a triple air dash and almost swimming through the air. He also has a charge jump to give him up some very to jump up to very tall heights. So you can combine things with, and he can also climb up buildings as well. So it's like, Deadshot has a jetpack. It has limited fuel in terms of it, and it overheats at times. So you want to use it sparingly or until you get used to it and get various upgrades through his talent skill tree to get let it last a longer fuel duration without overheating and so forth. But even then, he can use it to scale walls. He can hover in midair. It's like he can like get like a slight boost with it, at a certain points where you don't have to land right away, so you can last a little bit longer. And Captain Boomerang's boomerang, you can throw it a fair distance, and when he catches up to it, if you time pressing the A button on an Xbox controller at the right time, you can get like an extra sprint off of that for a limited amount of time. And he can also use that boomerang in midair a couple of times as well. And he also has a nice vertical leap at the same time. And of course, he can run up walls, like akin to, let's say, Saints Row 4 with the super sprint. That's important. You can sprint up any vertical surface. So all the characters move differently. They all have different, melee weapons. They have 3 different prime weapons that they can use. Harley, for example, can use pistols, assault rifles, and SMGs. King Shark can use the heavy weapons, shotguns, and pistols. And King Shark, you can shotguns on him are basically like a pistol. Now, no, King Shark can use assault rifles as well, I believe. So and so forth. So I'm just like in terms of that, every character has different strengths and weaknesses in terms of that. Then you have a skill tree that has different options that become available, and as you level up, while you can edit the skill tree at almost any given time, um, as you're leveling up initially, you are given choices on that skill tree for each individual character that gives like certain perks and bonuses, like hitting certain combos and such, like a 20 hit consecutive hit combo, 30 hit, 40 hits, like little boosts and things that start kicking into play. So you and at certain points on that skill tree, like certain things become, you get more options there to like you get a few things that you can play around with. Then you got the loadouts with everything, okay? Because obviously, on a game like this, you want to get yourself the best gear, you know. And so over the course of the game, you start getting yourself better gear. You're going to get yourself better weapons, better traversal mods that allow for additional boosts, better melee weapons, better shields, and so forth. Things become unlockable as you play. So you can have specific builds for each individual character. So you get all this customization option. And then you have the aspect from like Tom Clancy The Division, where this is the all the loot. It's like obviously you're gonna get a bunch of weapons and stuff. That there's gonna be a bunch of crap weapons, so you can break those things down. And when you get the blueprints and stuff as you play throughout the game, you craft your stuff the better versions of each individual gear, and as your support team of like Toyman, Poison Ivy, Penguin, and such become available to you, then you can start like making changes like to the perks of your gear, so you can like re-roll certain aspects for with Penguin, or you can try and get like certain things like if you're looking for an XP boost or a damage boost on like critical hits and stuff, that's an option. Or you can, when you Toyman becomes available, you can go to him and you can change one aspect of a weapon. You select which one you want to risk changing and try and find like the best alternate perk there. And with Ivy, you got like status ailments become available. It's like being able to freeze multiple enemies at any given time, or eventually, like cause like a Diablo blaze, like have them burning, or there's also the have there's an ailment that can provoke enemies into attacking one another if they're in range. And so it's like, and so you can like, okay, you can make sure that certain characters uh have certain ailments available to them at any given time, so you can mix and match and so forth. So this way, you try and cover yourself on all bases. So again, a whole lot of customization options there. All right, which is really really cool. Then so yeah, so I can, in terms of all of that, I just had a lot of fun with all of that in and of itself. Now, the voice acting and the musical score, there is a streamer mode version of it, so whatever licensed music that may be in the game I didn't hear, so I heard like the streamer mode soundtrack was more than serviceable. I didn't get tired of hearing the music and such, in terms of when going into combat situations and things of that nature. Everything was really well done. All the voice acting was pretty solid. Samoa Joe as King Shark steals the show. Well, I feel like Tara Strong gave the weakest performance out of everyone. Um, then again, I don't think Tara Strong is a particularly good Harley Quinn, even though she was basically the heir apparent when the original voice actress, whose names escapes me at this point in time, retired. I think it was Arlene Shortskin. Again, the name escapes me at this point in time, but Tara Strong just feels like she's just doing an impersonation of the original voice actress's performance as Harley Quinn. So it's like, again, that's just my personal opinion on that. Samoa Joe, best vocal performance. Tara Strong, weakest vocal performance. And everyone else falls right in between there in a nice wide spectrum. Also, the kudos to the actress who does the voice. I don't know who did the voice for Poison Ivy in this game, but they deserve super credit as well as like with this new version of Poison Ivy. I thought they nailed it, knocked it out of the park too. Let's see, visuals. It's as a third person looter shooter. This game is all it's not going to be look so well. So there is a little bit of a cartoonist aspect to it, much akin to say like the Saints Row franchise. So that is what it is. There, it is a very good looking game. Where the game shines, though, most in terms of its visuals is in the facial expressions for just about every single human character. Because there is a lot of times, particularly in cutscenes, which I think it's all in engine, and a lot of the expressions. There's a lot of like reaction shots to various characters, and where you can actually see, you get an idea of just how pissed off Amanda Waller is at various points in times without her saying anything, or how confused or Captain Boomerang can be at certain points in times, and then there's at times where Deadshot looks like he's absolutely done with it. Matter of fact, I do encourage people, if you're playing Suicide Squad, when you customize the looks for the characters, make sure Deadshot is never wearing his helmet outside when going around Metropolis. So you can always make sure that you can see his reactions to like anything that's being said at any point in time. So there's all that. Now let's dive into the one thing that most people are most that rip this game apart for, and that is the death of Batman and the supposed disrespect to Kevin Conroy. First and foremost, in regards to Kevin Conroy, let's remember something. The dude saw the script. He read the script. He agreed to lend his vocal talents as Batman for this game. He got paid for it. And so if he was more than willing to cash the check, then we can't be upset about him being well, then he wasn't disrespected. He cashed the check. He knew what was going on with the character. He knew the Batman this was a compromised version of Batman that he was playing, and he gave a great performance in that regard. He also got to have a great moment as the Arkham Batman one final time in a great cutscene when our heroes, Harley, Deadshot, King Shark, and Captain Boomerang, find the Batcave. And so he gets to have a great moment, and we learn that everything in terms of how the Suicide Squad dealt with Flash and Green Lantern prior to it, comes down to his actual plans, his Batman's contingency plan on dealing with the Justice League. And guess what? Batman had a plan to deal with himself. What was Batman's plan to deal with himself? As indicated in the game, was to have Robin, Nightwing, Oracle, and Jason Todd, Red Hood, come after him. All right. So that was Batman's contingency plan. He expected the Bat family to kill him. All right. That there is no misinterpretation there. Like, if he knows how dangerous he could be. If like any compromise and stuff, if you use his skills for the forces of evil, hell, anybody who's seen any type of like the Justice Lords episodes of Justice League, What was it? Those episodes called like A Better World. You kind of saw like what an evil Batman would be like, and he would totally justify anything that he would do in that regard. And we're not even getting into likes of Owlman and such. So like we all seen like an evil Batman as voiced by Kevin Conroy before. All right, we've all seen that. It just gets turned up to the nth degree here. So if Batman had that contingency plan for himself as it relates to this game, to like in that type of situation, and it's detailed as such, then no one can be upset about it. But the only people that are upset about it are the people who did not play the game, who did not actually, pay attention to all the details. All they saw is the cutscene and the final dialogue between Harley Quinn and Batman, and before she puts the bullet in his cowl. And let's face it, in terms of like how Batman's portrayed in the Arkham games, he kind of deserves it. Just saying. So with all that in mind, but even then, if you actually listen to Harley's dialogue in that scene, both like how she is talking to him and then how she speaks about him afterwards, like Harley has a line that Batman would have wanted it that way. The real Batman, that the one that she knew, the one that was not compromised. Harley regrets having to do it. All right. If you actually play the game fully, you will see that. All right. So breaking all that down, if you don't give the game a chance and actually play it, actually go through the story, and you miss out on a lot. And even on top of all of that, as relates just to the whole Batman fiasco that a lot of people make a whole lot of something out of nothing for, there is, in terms of the build-up, there is, if you're leveling up your characters and stuff and doing all the side activities prior to finding the Batcave, there is a lot of dialogue that is said, like casual banter, like as you're just roaming around Metropolis between the four main characters, in terms of like, okay, their anticipation, the worry about actually dealing with Batman in that regard. So they addressed it very, very thoroughly. They gave the game, the developers did a major job of putting out like about every amount of respect onto it, making it clear, this is the Arkham version of the Arkham games version of Batman. It's a compromised version of it. And even then, in the aftermath of it, as I said, there's actual line and implications within it that Harley Quinn regretted doing it, and she knows this was not the Batman that she knew. All right, so if you're, I'm not sure how plainer I can lay it out there. If you're stupid enough to not understand that as it relates to how Batman is portrayed in this game, and what the death of that character, the Arkham version of Batman, means as relation to a character like Harley Quinn, and this is even before she witnesses the death of Wonder Woman, and where Wonder Woman looks Harley Quinn in the eyes and tells her, like, it's up to her and her friends now to actually to deal with Superman of all people, then you didn't give this game a fair chance. So with all that said, again, I highly recommend you play the game, give the game a chance, actually pay attention to everything, especially if you're that, again, play the game. Play the game. I laid out like how great all the gameplay mechanics is, all the RPG stuff, and I broke down the controversial Batman and Kevin Conroy stuff for you. But trust me, just think about all the stuff I'm not talking about, to all the other great moments with the game in terms of the story that am not covering right now, because there is a whole lot of stuff that comes into play. Like King Shark gets a lot of great moments, Captain Boomerang as well as Deadshot, in terms of they all have great character arcs over the course of this game. And I'll just leave this with this before I wrap up this video up here. I am suspecting that Lex Luthor is actually a version of Brainiac. But that's just my theory. It's a game theory. But if I was, a theorist, I would actually elaborate on that. But, if you play the game, you will see where I'm getting at with that. But you have to play the game for yourself. So with that said, thank you very much for this. Tighten your friendship bracelet. Stay safe. We'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.